Hey everybody, it's Tamika. Today I am sharing with you a process video on how I created this altered digital clock that I got from Amazon using Autumn's Sweet Harvest from the Shabby Art Boutique. The membership is open for a limited time if you're interested in getting some very pretty, very shabby digital papers. So we're going to jump right into how I made this and hopefully you enjoy.
If you are under the age of 18 and are watching this video, please stop now. This content was not intended for you.
So this is going to be my base. I am so excited. I made a clock a couple years ago. I love to do standout pieces, 3D pieces I can put in my craft room and display a paper. I haven't done any scrapbook layouts or anything that I can hang up. I usually have all of my 3D projects that I've made around. So I love to do these and alter these. So this is my second clock. The first clock was a Tim Holtz clock. This clock, way cheaper, and I got it off of Amazon. And I got it the next day. So, hoo-hoo. So I'm going to redo the Shabby paper from Carrie Ann's shop, Shabby Art Boutique. I'll have the paper collection that I am using down below in the description box. But first of all, I want to get another one of these clocks to put into my office because I love the vintageness of it all, and I hate I hate to have to do it this way. Like, I don't want to mess it up, but it is so cool. I love this clock. Like, it's so nice. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, look at that. I'm not sure if it's gonna still be able to ring after, but very, very nice. So that's how wide it is. Nice, good size clock that can stand on its own and be a nice little display piece. So looking forward to doing something with this. So I'm going to show you the papers that I printed. Oh, before I do that, so I'm going to take this outside. I'm going to mask this off, this face off, and I'm going to paint it with white spray paint, just so I can have a base. When you're doing metal spray paint, I find to be a great base instead of patting on gesso or something, because this is such a smooth surface unless you get a sanding block or something and rough up the edges so that the paint can attach. So easier for me, spray paint it with some matte white spray paint, or black if you're using, darker colors. I'm going to do matte white spray paint, let it dry, and I only need one coat because I am going to go over it with either this satin acrylic paint, this is from Target, or this apple barrel, and I think this is from Walmart. But they're both kind of the same colors. I kind of like this one a little bit better, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to pat that on with the foam brush from the Dollar Tree, probably, or a sponge piece, just so I can have some texture. So that's my plan for this for now. So I'm going to go ahead and spray paint that. But first, I want to show you the papers that I printed to complete this clock. So from here on out, it'll be a voiceover with a little music showing you my process. This is the paper that I used from Autumn's Harvest. It's a beautiful paper. There's script, polka dots, there's damask, there's flowers, lots of different pieces in this collection that you can use. I absolutely love this sweater paper here. It's in a pink and a cream, and it's in this small print sweater and also this large one, this sweater knit. I absolutely love this, and I have another video of using that paper because I love it so much. So this is the paper. Again, you guys, this is a limited time open for Shabby Art Boutique if you want to be a member. So now is the time to join. Link down below. I love this KOALA inkjet matte photo paper. You guys know I use it every time I print my digitals. It prints beautifully. 48 pound. You got to get it. Link down below as well. Cardstock Warehouse Speckletone Madero Beach, one of my favorite cream craft colors of this. Look at the beautiful Speckletone in there. I use that to cut my numbers out, and I did cut them twice so that they can be thick and more pronounced on the front of the clock. So this again is the paint that I use, these two cream colors, and I ended up mixing them both in the project. And then I also wanted to add a little bit more color, add more dimension, so I added the chalk ballet slipper from Walmart. I love the whole Waverly collection chalk paints. I have it in the larger and the small, just showing you that you can get it big and little, both very inexpensive, and you definitely want to have this. And then I also wanted to put a little bit more pizzazz in it, so I added some metallic pure gold. I got that from Hobby Lobby. And then those are my Paper Studio mini pearls. So I did go ahead and spray paint the back of the clock, the inside of the clock pink, and then the outside white. You won't see the pink, and I'm not using that metallic paper over there. I'm just showing you the white matte finish is so pretty. I did tape everything together, but I ended up cutting a lot of it off because I wasn't able to use the clock with all of the stuff on it. So these are just all the pieces to the clock that I took apart. Didn't realize everything was so separate, but it was easy to put back together. So I kept all my little nibs and knobs in the little circle thing, and it was good to go. I'm pulling out my box of circle and oval dies. I have a die video on how I store my dies. I'll link that down below as well. So here I'm just trying to figure out which ones will work best for cutting the paper so that it fits the perimeter of the clock. And I found some perfect matches. So I ended up printing all of the digitals from the collection using that matte photo paper. Look how pretty they are. They cut perfectly. I imported them into my Silhouette software and did an offset and just cut them all out because I wanted to keep them all. They're good for cards. Even if you don't use it all on projects, you can do cards. You can add them to other different layer projects because they are a universal collection. I love those little cats and those little mice. Those are the only times I'm going to say that I love cat and mice. So these are all the parts that I printed off. So I ended up cutting out my circles, and of course shabby, you have to do a little bit of shabbiness to all the papers. So I took the back of my scissors, well-known technique, added a little bit of water so that the paper doesn't rip, and I'm just fraying the fibers so we can have a nice even shabbiness all around with practically no tears. So I did circle in the middle to make sure that everything fit properly, and then I cut that out, did some distressing on that as well. I like how that looked, so I'm going to put the other dies where I want them to go because I want to add another layer of paper to it. I use a little bit of washi tape to keep the dies in place, and then I can run that through my die cutting machine with no problem because I know that that's exactly where I need the dies to go. The key is to getting some good washi tape that will keep everything together, which it did. And boom, I have an outer circle and an inner circle, and I can use that other circle, the smaller circle, for something later, but at this point I just wanted the outer one, which I will add some dimension to. So I'm just using some wet glue to adhere this to this paint because I do want this to be flat against the surface. Too bad you can't see much of the pink, but anyway, I'm adding the dimension here to the circle that I cut out in the script paper, and I add that on top. That is just so cute. I love layering and I love adding, and then a little bit extra fray at the end. And then to tie everything all together, I muted a little bit of the damask that was on the paper by adding a little bit of paint. There's a little bit of water on my finger, and I go around and I brush it in. Easy peasy. These are the numbers that I cut out with that Cardstock Warehouse Madero speckle or beach Madero pink. It'll be down below, y'all. And I doubled them up, added them to wet glue, and put them on the clock. And I only did 12, 3, 6, and 9. It was just the letters were too big for me to do all the numbers. So boom, that's a clock. It's not going to work anyway, but it's there for aesthetic purposes. Okay, so next we're going to add the clock hands, and later I figure out, dag nabbit, I didn't paint all the silver things, so I'll go back and do that later. But I just want to put the clock hands on there to make sure they stay and they're not moving. So I ended up bending them just a little bit, just so they cannot be so close to the paper. So little trick here, take your paintbrush, put it on a piece of a sponge, and then you can dab it on these little metal pieces and they'll stay. They'll stick and they'll stay. So I did 2 coats of these. My first coat, my base coat, chrome coat, whatever you want to call it, is going to be dried with the heat tool. And here I'm just making sure before I continue to keep adding layers, I am making sure that everything fits properly, because when you add the paint, you know, you get extra layers, and it also enhances the thickness of what you're doing. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to bend these up just a smidge, add my little touch, because my fingers cover some of the metal, and I didn't want any of the metal to show since I'm using the gold metal. And then to tie in the pink, I dab it all around the edges of the Shabby, and then get a little wipe and wipe off a little bit of the pink. So I am unscrewing. I don't know why I had this here. I think I'm screwing the back and the bottom together because I know that that's going to go, and making testing and making sure that's where I want everything to go. So I keep doing this throughout the project to make sure I'm not adding too much bulk and that the clock will close. That doesn't, it just snaps on. So I just wanted to make sure I held it, bent my little wands up a little bit. As you can see, stays off the paper. Everything is coming to you in 3D. Here's where I realized, dagnabbit, I didn't paint my bells, and I didn't paint the handle, I didn't paint the feet. So I should have did that with the spray paint when I did the front of the clock. Don't know what I was thinking. So here I'm just adding some more paint to a sponge, and I'm gonna sponge it on. And I'm really like, dang it, I don't want to do this, and I don't feel like going outside. But I ended up loving the texture. You'll see that in a slow motion in a minute. So I add the paint to that, and then with the sponge, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sponge all around it. This texture, yes, the first coat you're gonna see some more of the silver, but that's okay because we're gonna do a second coat. First coat we're gonna dry with the heat tool. Second coat will be air dried, room dried, or whatever, and it doesn't take long to do that. So I was really happy with this result. It was quite a surprise that I needed this texture on here, and I was so happy that I did that. So I ended up doing everything, the feet, the handle, and the bell, and the little knob you'll see in the upper left hand corner, in a little tray with all the rest of the little bits. I did that one as well. It's just not shown here in the video. There's the first coat being dried. You can see you're gonna need a couple coats because the silver is stubborn and it just wants to still come through. Fortunately, it can't, not in this project. So boom, here we go, second coat, and look at the coverage, look at the texture. I love it. And these are just sponges. These are just cleaning sponges that you use in your car from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a one big fat large one that you dry your car off with. I just break it in pieces, put them in a sandwich bag, and when I need to do these little projects like this, they're already ready. Look at that. That texture is so cute. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the clock because I loved it. I'm going to sponge that on. And while the clock was pretty by itself with just the mixture of the cream, I said, let me add a little bit of the pink because I added it to the front where the numbers are. I added it to the wands, and I needed to bring it all together. So this is a lot of pink, and I didn't want it to be that much pink. I wanted a cream, so I'm going back in with the cream to cover a little bit of that up so it can just peek through there. So it's cream, then pink, then cream. So you can see the difference when you dabble that on a little bit. And now we're introducing gold, just a little bit on a little bit of the parts. I take a little bit of that sponge and then blend like you do your makeup. So you don't have stark gold coming through. It's just a little bit rustic for the shabbiness, a little bit vintage showing through. So that's what I'm doing here, and it turned out so beautiful. Absolutely, this is a homemade color. This is a homemade put together color sample right there. Look at that, gorgeous. And yeah, I love that. So now I let that sit and air dry because I needed the texture to stay. Now I'm taking bits of leftover paper that I used, that I had left from cutting the clock out, and I'm cutting it into strips. I wet the strips just a little bit. I probably should have wet them a little bit more so they can be a little bit more pliable, but that's fine. Use the wet glue and just randomly put the wet glue on the outside of the clock until it's stuck, and then I just kept doing that with different parts of the paper. I used the script paper, which I loved, and then I also used a little bit of that autumn paper with the pumpkins in it, just a little bit because it had a little bit of a brown tone to it. And boom, there it is, all put together, all dried. So now I'm putting the clock back. I just did that decoupage thing all over the clock. You guys didn't need to see me do that, but I did it all over the clock. So now I'm just putting the clock back together without the inner parts, because it's not going to work anyway. I didn't even try to put it together like that. Look at that, so cute. Absolutely love it. So now it's time to add my flat back pearls and my die cuts to the project. These are the ones that I chose. I really wanted to use that pumpkin cat, but it just didn't look right on there, so I'll save that for another project. Boom, add your pop dots and then a little bit of hot glue. Make sure that stays. Added my large little mouse on the side because she or he is so adorable. And then you just layer. You layer to your heart's content. I did a bunch of leaves. I did some flowers, and you'll see how everything comes out. I might go back later and add some dimensionals when I get done with my base to see what needs to be popped up, what I want to be presented a little bit higher than the others. So I'm going to let this play out so you guys can see what I did. If you enjoyed watching this video, please take a second and hit that like button. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Don't be shy. And if you have a moment, go through my videos. And if this is something that fits your algorithm, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload any videos. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and taking the time to send me some love. All right, I shall talk to you guys soon. Bye.